Pac-12 expansion has happened. And how fitting that it happened in the middle of the night. Pac-12 after dark, it was like midnight. You start reading around on Twitter, you start figuring out, wait a minute, there's 4 schools that are going to leave the Mountain West to join the Pac-12. And the Pac-12 right now, of course, obviously only consists of Oregon State and Washington State. They had a 2-year grace period where they could still remain a conference in the eyes of the NCAA without adding additional teams. You have to have at least 8 teams, and that is exactly what the presidents of Washington State and Oregon State have said that their plan is. They plan to get to 8 schools. So they've added 4 from the Mountain West: Boise State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Colorado State. If they add 2 more state schools, they will be the state 8, as Tom Fornelli stated. Fornelli's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. So you got 6 right now. You need 2 more. It was a $17 million buyout per school from the Mountain West, and the Pac-12 owes an additional $10 to $12 million per school for each school that they take from that conference as per their scheduling agreement. Now, we got news a few weeks ago that the Mountain West and the Pac-12 were no longer going to have a scheduling agreement, and that makes sense because Oregon State and Washington State were basically paying these schools $1 million a game for them to allow them to schedule, especially this quickly, right? Because you had to break other contracts, et cetera, et cetera. So, 6 teams right now. The media contract, right now we know that the CW is interested in this. Can they get $12 million per school per year? Can they get 15? What does it look like? What does the market look like now? Because the Pac-12 is now in front of the Mountain West as far as a new television deal is concerned. So we got to look at who is next on the list. And the Pac-12 criteria that was stated is academics and athletics performance, media and brand evaluation, commitment to athletic success, geography, and logistics, culture, and student-athlete welfare. The geography one stands out to me because when it says something about academics and athletics performance, it's like it's tying those in together. Because if you just did academics, some of these schools, Boise State, San Diego State, San Diego State's a pretty good school. Fresno, the academics are questionable, especially considering what the Pac-12 used to have. So the expectation level, I think, is a little bit different. So that is the criteria that the Pac-12 is looking for in their new additions. So who is next? What do they end up doing? Do they go after more Mountain West schools? I don't know if they want to just waste the whole coffers on Mountain West schools, because you have to find a Mountain West school that is willing to leave, like willing to pay $17 million, and then the Pac-12 has to pay $10 to $12 million per school. That's a lot of money. Cal and Stanford are not coming back. Like, I know a lot of people are talking about that. The only way that they come back is if the ACC completely disintegrates. And I don't think that's going to happen. Cal and Stanford stand to make more money even without Florida State and Clemson in the SEC, or in the ACC, than they would if they come back and join the Pac-12. The Pac-12 media agreement, like I said, $12 million a year, $15 million a year. The CW is interested in them. Right now it's only 6 schools. They've stated they're going to get to 8. What is that going to look like? If you get 12 to 15 million a year, well, that's more than the AC or AAC makes. That's more than the Mountain West makes, etc. So long term, it's certainly going to make more sense. Do they go to 10? Does it make sense for some of these schools logistically? For example, UNLV, yeah, logistically that would make a whole lot of sense. Academics are certainly questionable, but that is a rising football program. The basketball program is pretty good. It's a major media market. It would make a whole lot of sense to invite UNLV as well. UTSA, they just got to the AAC. You're already seeing what life looks like when they don't have Frank Harris. So that's something to pay attention to. Memphis and Tulane. 2 schools in the AAC, the only ones that have been left behind as far as realignment is concerned, and it's not like this is moving over to a Power 4 or Power 5 conference, but it is maybe better as far as money goes long term, and you'd get better football matchups for sure, right? Tulane and Memphis going and joining the Pac-12 with Boise, Fresno, San Diego State, Colorado State, Oregon State, Washington State. The travel would be hellacious, but you got pretty good markets there. If you were to add all 4 and go on ahead and get to 10, the Las Vegas market, the San Antonio market, the Memphis market, and the New Orleans market, if you're going at it the same way that the AAC did when they added schools from Conference USA, Charlotte had no business moving up, but Charlotte is a major market, right? You look at some of the other ones, FAU, etc. Like this is, they were trying to go after markets. Rice, same thing, because they wanted to replace Houston in the market. A lot of moving up that maybe should not have happened, but markets apparently matter, especially when you're trying to deal with media contracts. So, media rights, etc. If I had to guess, like I've heard New Mexico might be involved. I've heard they might go after some more Mountain West schools. Okay, like take the check, take the losses kind of stuff like Bud Elliott always says. I think UNLV makes a whole lot of sense. Aside from that, Memphis or Tulane, if it's only going to be one of them. UTSA, I don't think makes sense to move up yet. It depends on who. Tulane has not been interested in moving up until recently. Memphis has been trying to get into a new conference for a long, long time. I don't know what that's going to mean, though, right? So my guess, probably UNLV and Memphis, but then Memphis would be the only school not in that footprint. So do they look at any more of these Mountain West schools? That's the question. So I'm very curious. If they bring Memphis, they probably got to bring Tulane as well. And if you bring those two, you probably need somebody else in this part of the world, right? I don't know if you want the same ACC setup where you've only got Cal and Stanford out west, and then, you've got SMU in the middle, somewhere in the middle, but then everybody else is on the East Coast. If you have all West Coast schools and then you bring in a couple of schools that are further east, it's questionable. Very, very questionable. So I'm curious to see what they're going to end up doing with this, but boy, it's going to be a lot of fun. It is. I think this could be a really fun conference. Really, really do. Thanks for listening to Winning Cures Everything. Make sure and follow me on Twitter @GaryWCE. If you want to toss in a question, you can email me, Gary@winningcureseverything.com. Make sure and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.